Hello, tonight we're going to come back and read the impeachment order that will be issued for Obama on January 1st, 2012. The Tea Party decrees by the power of the Constitution that Barack Obama is hereby subject to the order of impeachment effective January 1st, 2012, subsequent to the House petition for impeachment filed May 27, 2011, in accordance with the investigative conclusions on the following articles of impeachment filed as offenses and abuses of power. That Obama has been found guilty to have violated the oath of office in an evil and egregious manner and of gross misappropriation, so that he is therefore no longer recognized or respected as President of the United States by the good people he was sworn to serve. We ask that he willingly leave the office on January 1st, 2012, as we are no longer required to respect him for he broke his oath of office, nor are we required to uphold any laws that he has signed against our will. The Tea Party decrees impeachment of Obama based on these articles of impeachment. Impeachment Article Number 1 fails to repeal H.R. 4872. Impeachment Article Number 2 fails on economic and foreign policy. Impeachment Article Number 3 fails to hold Fannie and Freddie accountable. Impeachment Article Number 4 fails to restrict taxpayer funds used to conduct abortions for corrupt government contracts with Stericycle. Impeachment Article Number 5 abuses power by coercion, misrepresenting figures, and threatening consequences for those speaking out about the truth about abuse of power and misuse of taxpayer dollars. Impeachment Article Number 6 breaks the oath of office, perjures himself in lying about his citizenship, and committing felonies for every campaign donation accepted over a certain dollar amount as applicable by law, in corruption and collaboration with the DNC. Impeachment Article Number 7 fails to reinstate or reinstitute the family as the governing unit of society. Impeachment Article Number 8 fails to restrict wasteful spending and continues to persist in raising the debt ceiling against the will of the American people. And Impeachment Article Number 9 calls for the removal of 51 Senate Democrats who have opposed the will of the American people by failing to fully repeal H.R. 4872 in favor of exacting the will of Obama instead of representing the will of the American people. You can see the original document online. It's posted on the YouTube page, but I'm just going to go ahead and read the articles on which Obama was found guilty. Obama was found guilty of Articles 2, 5, 6, and 8. Financial and economic policy has been speculative and not conservative. The investigation concluded by numerous court inquiries, Sheriff Joe's investigations, and Kenya verifying Obama's citizenship by birth, that he committed 2008 election fraud, felonious donations, no citizenship, misrepresentation as a moderate candidate. As Attorney General Holder is still being called to resign by Congress and major sheriff's organizations over the Fast and Furious cartel gun-providing scandal, in which Sheriff Joe's life was threatened over this matter. Holder still refuses to deport Obama or have the DNC investigate Obama's lack of birth certificate, which Obama calls racism, in failing to acknowledge the law that he swore to uphold. In Obama's book, all you have to do is cry racism, and that entitles you to break the law. This is verified by court records. Tony Rezko, Obama's fraudulent fundraiser, gets sentenced to 10 years for questionable donations and for land adjacent to Obama's house that was bought with community improvement funds. All court records are now public, which implicate Obama's fraud, as the plea was originally sealed before Tony Rezko's sentencing until now. Blagojevich, who tried to sell Obama's Senate seat for cash over the phone, gets 14 years for the politically corrupt stunt in which he was told by other Democrats that he wouldn't have gotten caught if he'd have shared the wealth with the rest of the party. In response to calls for Holder's resignation, Holder has sealed border agent Brian Terry's records, who was murdered over the Fast and Furious scandal. Obama has run up a $10 trillion deficit, raising the debt ceiling twice with a Democrat-controlled Congress since 2006, and racked up more debt than all presidents from Washington to Bush Jr. combined. Had 3 near government shutdowns, no approved budgets for 3 years, and took in questionable money from donors while in office and violated campaign rules of time spent fundraising instead of working. Obama was found guilty of Articles 2, 5, and 8 on environmental policy. Global warming is only a factor, not the issue. Kinetic energy drives storms and weather patterns, which is due to overpopulation and technology increases. Driving up the cost of gas to say you created 2,500 jobs in Detroit so Obama can recoup the money that he invested in electric cars or green technology is not paying for itself. Investigation concluded by congressional hearing that Chu lies to Congress about Solyndra, costing taxpayers a $545 million loan, creating 0 jobs, one of the many green energy scam initiatives by the Obama administration. Green energy scams fronted as employment opportunities by unsuspecting taxpayers, which equal climate cults. Obama was found guilty of Articles 1, 4, and 7 on failed social policies. Requiring people pay for insurance when they're not caring for their bodies is the government's way of taxation on your health as a commodity, which is unconstitutional. Abortion has bankrupted the congressional purse. Obama insists we offer these services and continue doing more of them. Welfare and unemployment have drained us financially. Food stamps are the biggest issue of government waste. 37 states indicate fraud, though this administration continues to lie and say that most people use them correctly. How many states does it take? Or how many per population group to admit this is throwing away money into an abyss, fueling societal decay and the drug wars, the very financing mechanism of the Taliban? Investigation concluded. Uganda received $60 million American dollars for abortions performed for the Mami Wata contract, known as H.R. 4872. And the lower courts, 11th and 9th Circuit Court of Appeals, ruled that legislation is conflicting and not entirely constitutional. The 11th Circuit deems it unconstitutional. Obamacare H.R. 4872 is really a contract with Mami Wata. Obama wrote legislation to honor an African goddess of wealth who is appeased by child sacrifice, a form of idolatry we know to be voodoo. He justified selling the carcasses of the unborn to fund stem cell research companies for profit by massively expanding federal funds for abortion mills, prisons, and psychotropic drugs, not giving any of us the health insurance he promised. Obama found guilty of Article 2, failed nuclear policy initiatives and diplomatic policy. We are stretched too thin. When Saddam's neck snapped, we should have left Iraq. Instead, Bush Jr. engaged us in an unconstitutional stay longer than 2 years, and Obama did not immediately withdraw as he promised during the campaign. We have been slaughtered in Afghanistan's mountains. Instead of decimating strongholds, we have been engaging in a tedious ground war, and we have entered into supplying military action in Egypt and Libya rather than getting NATO to act in accord. They have put it off on us. We have failed to deal with policy that has jeopardized our security, including accusing the entire country of Pakistan for harboring bin Laden, when he may have long ago been dead in 2007. The hideout set up as if he was still there, carrying out operations as a propaganda headquarters. This is what the Nazis would have done if Hitler would not have been killed openly. And we have failed in showing the whole world that we will not tolerate injustice by perpetuating it with this pseudo-New World Order type philosophy. The investigation concluded. Just before Gaddafi's death, he dumps $15 million into Caire. The first speculation is that it was for sanctuary, but we can verify that this may have been reimbursement or payment for a nuclear weapon. But we cannot verify who sold the weapon to Ahmadinejad or if he recently had it hiding in Iraq, waiting for the troops to leave to move it. Many of Obama's donors and donations have come from Caire. And this is indicative of treason. Not just questionable donations, but donations being made to Kyer for a purpose other than politics or religious lobbying, made distinct by a covert threat of violence upon the United States by misuse of charitable organizations as a front for nuclear financing outside of NATO treaty provisions. Obama found guilty of Article Number 7, failure to uphold existing laws in the Constitution. Deprivation of fair election in 2008, non-citizen status, DOMA, violation of freedom of religion and internet free speech violations, and other free speech violations. Obama was found guilty of Article Number 3. The investigation concluded by a congressional hearing that Barney Frank and others would be subject to ethics investigations or reprimand by the House for the abuse of black constituents and others disaffected by the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac mortgage crises, which affected the entire housing market, with every taxpayer paying the consequences of bad leadership, whether they held a mortgage or not, for which Barney Frank retired rather than face the sting of reprimand. Other constituents have already sued and won settlement against Fannie Mae, which again was funded by taxpayers because Fannie Mae should have been dissolved and the loans taken over entirely by the government. We are now paying the mortgage fees in the continuing resolution. Obama found guilty of Articles 1 and 9. Investigation concluded that the Senate has not upheld the will of the people in repealing H.R. 4872, or the House in bringing the proposed bill to the floor for a vote since August 2010, though the appeals court have ruled that violations are of the Commerce Clause. We, the people, conclude Obama has betrayed the public trust and continues to do so. He has refused to sufficiently dispel his non-citizen status by waving around a forged copy. He has done this by delaying the court's ruling until his third year, unraveling the fabric of our country in the process by systematically tearing it apart from the inside. We conclude that Obama's offenses are deemed to be impeachable, set forth by this decree, effective January 1st, 2012. Obama has also refused to sign the permit for the Keystone Pipeline. He issued a veto threat while the continuing resolution passed unanimously in the Senate. His actions hurt the needy, the sick, and those dependent on Social Security. If the government shuts down, the military will receive delayed wages or their pay will be withheld on January 1st, 2012. If both the House and Senate do not come to an agreement by January 1st, 2012 on another continuing resolution, the government will shut down because Obama failed to sign the permit for the Keystone Pipeline, as agreed, in order to get the 2-month extension on the payroll tax cuts, which are regularly budgeted revenue. And this would be offset by the revenue from the pipeline project. We are not content for Obama to be elected out. He must vacate the office effective January 1st, 2012. May it stand that Obama is impeached by the people, that this may be public record and resolution of the matter, that he is evicted from the White House on January 1st, 2012, as he has no legal authority to occupy it, as if he ever did. May this also stand as public record that he may not run as a balloted candidate, ever hold office again, or collect retirement as a former president, because he was never a president, but indeed a usurper of the office. As undersigned, on behalf of the people,